Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
Me hearties, and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. I'm your Captain Charlie, Professor S.I. With me as always, me first mate and Skinny Rich Fred.
It's Mozz.
Welcome, Mozz. Welcome back once again to a galaxy far, far away. A galaxy filled with capes and Lunatics, gods and monsters, where the people of Navarro need protection from rampant pirate attacks. Season 3, Episode 5, Chapter 21, The Pirate. Our director this week is Peter Ramsey. Jon Favreau, George Lucas, the regular gang are doing our writing here. Let's see what we got here. Jon Favreau gets our credit by George Lucas, based on Star Wars by. And friend, I gotta tell you, this is a good episode.
It was more like a fun episode. There's like all these big things happening everywhere. This was like a side excursion, like one of those Kung Fu or the original Hulk stories, right? Just an in-between story of a random town he happened upon. And I dig that, you know?
Well, but it's not just a random town he happens upon. It's the town he was at. And honestly, this is the thing. And this is going to be this. And this is what I'm going to say about this episode and the next episode, and then the episode that dropped today. Is that there is all this me online, as you will have. But it's like, dude, it's a big universe. It's a big galaxy. There's lots of things going on. And every step leads to another step that leads to something else. And the silly widdly-wackily-doo thing that happened here, that's important. Everything builds upon what happens next. And that is what expressly happens here, where the pirates come back to Navarro. Because Navarro's getting too big for its britches. And the pirates basically say, you're not in the what do they call the new Republic. You're not part of the New Republic. You got no ships or weapons. And you're going to tell our pirates we can't drink in your school? It's like, you know. And that's the thing. It's like the pirates are there for the cruelty. As we'll see in later episodes, the cruelty is the point.
I think the spoils are the point. The cruelty is the cherry on top, I would say.
Well, I mean, okay, so no spoilers for the episode that dropped today, but you find out that all this stuff, it's part of something. Okay,
gotcha.
Yeah, and quite frankly, it's the spoils. The pirates don't like being told where they're not allowed to drink.
And they saw an easy mark, right? They're like, okay, these guys don't have the backing of anybody. Let's just go get some stuff.
Exactly. But, you know, they underestimated Apollo Creed, my friends.
And how?
Because that man's got friends everywhere. That's the thing. He's the High Magistrate, but more importantly, He was the guy who ran all the gangsters out of this town. You don't get to be the guy who runs all the gangsters out of a town by being just a bureaucrat. He is a bureaucrat. He can handle bureaucracy, but he also knows what side his butter is breaded on and where to call in favors. And what I liked about this episode is also that everybody else in that middle ground between the New Republic and the Rebellion, they all know what side their butter is breaded on. And they all know, you know what, we got to make this work because the alternative is not an answer. And that is what happens in this. But I don't want to give too much away, but let's talk about what happens, which is basically not our three-handled moss-covered family credenza that is our pirate returns.
Oscar the Grouch. To me, it was always Oscar the Grouch.
It's a vegan Pizza the Hut, and honestly, I love it. Why should every creature not, if you're a creature that naturally grows vines, let your vines grow. You don't got to keep your topiary nice and trimmed. Let it out there. Let them show just how green you are. Because again, for his culture, that's a whole thing. I'm sure.
Yeah. Swamp people.
Fun thing I like there is we actually see one of the I Have Spoken people as his first mate. It's like, I do like the callbacks where like all these species, these recently introduced, fun species are coming back, like hobbits in the Shire. It's just, you can't get rid of them. There's lots of them. They are diverse. They're not all the same person, but you're going to see more of them because we can do that now. We have the technology. But yeah, so they come and they basically devastate the countryside, which leads Magistrate Grief Carvin, Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, to reach out to his friend. I gotta look up him. He hasn't been around for a while, but
right.
The local captain, know?
The balding Japanese man.
Yeah, exactly. The guy that Pat Morita
one of the good ones
20 years ago. Yeah. Well, the one good cop, I guess, is what we'll say. You got to have at least one.
Right, he definitely seems like the guy who would let you off with a warning.
Yeah, and he has in the past. He's like, dude, man, I got so many problems. I'm not trying to give you trouble. I'm not trying to cause you problems. But do understand, I also have a job to do. Right. Reaches out to him, and he's like, well, okay, let's reach out to Coruscant. And man,
I'll never be able to take his face or his voice seriously. I kept expecting him to be like something goofy or funny about him, but there wasn't. But in my head, I kept hearing, "Ooh, it's a lady."
But the thing is, Tim Meadows, he plays a bureaucrat. He's there's nothing about him that doesn't say, I'm, it's sort of So as an example, you watch a lot of old TV, you will see that there was one guy who played the crotchety old accountant. And in every show, when they needed a guy to come in to be the crotchety old, and I'm forgetting his name now, but he was all the time in Petticoat Junction, because he was a very big reoccurring character trying to shut down the cannonball. But that guy showed up in every show. And Tim Meadows, he's a guy who shows up in a lot of shows to be the soft-spoken bureaucrat who's trying to do his best, but is dealing with limited things. He's also in the Goldbergs right now as the principal.
To me, he's still Leon Phelps, the ladies' man.
Oh, well, and he probably was in his younger days, and he probably is still today. He's
so funny that, like, just his face and his voice alone is already the setup to a joke. Like, my brain already gets ready to laugh just hearing his voice. So,
you know what? And I appreciate that. And I think that, people talk about stunt casting sometimes. I actually think it's intentional sometimes. I think it's intentional to see, I recognize that person. It's like, of course you recognize that person. You see this person every day, this bureaucrat who is trying his best. He's not a bad guy. He doesn't want to hurt anybody, but he's got to say, man, I don't know. I got all these requests. This is an outer rim place that didn't want to join us. Do I need to send, a fleet of X-Wings there to deal with their little pirate mess?
Isn't that how Andor worked? That didn't work out too well for them on Andor.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, not for nothing. That is, I don't know if you noticed this, Mozz, but the New Republic, not good at their jobs. Effectively, it's all the bureaucracy of the Empire, none of the efficiency. And it is honestly in its own way kind of its own, it's writing its own failure. Not because anyone is being
they won
malignant.
The ticket on we're not the other guy.
Mm-hmm. And for real. And it's good to do that, but then you do have to have some delivery. You have to show what you're going to do and how your way is better, even if it takes longer.
Yeah.
And that's always the thing. It's like when we're steering the ship of state, it's not always going to be easy. Leave me one. If you guys are like having another pork chop, cut it in half so you can each have half.
No, I don't want one.
Okay. Just dealing with the kids. It's pork chop night, and
sounds good.
Always is. It's the Parmesan crusted from Shake and Bake. Shake and Bake stopped giving you shaky bags. I'm very upset about it. Well, because they said, you know what? You probably got a bag in your house. Shake it in that. Except they stopped. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this is a fun fact. Back in the day, they didn't give you the little plastic bag. You had to find a bag in your house, but you had tons of bags from going grocery shopping and whatnot. And you do a big bag and you throw the whole chicken in there, throw in all the spices and shake it up, and it came out great. But now it's a lot different because we're dealing with individual pieces of meat, sometimes boneless, sometimes not. But anyway, moving right along. They come to Tim Meadows. They're asking for the help, but the help is not forthcoming, and it is not forthcoming. It's expressly because of our friend Omega. I'm sorry, Ella Kane, and I am sorry. I really feel that's the deep cut reveal that's going to happen. That Ella Kane is either Omega from the Bad Batch or is a clone of Omega from the Bad Batch. Everything about her, the way she looks, the way her hair is cut, the way she behaves, and the fact that she never had a choice. To me, that just speaks to this character really being someone deeper of a cut than we think she is.
I mean, her mannerisms, and maybe it's meant to play to us as the audience, but I find it really hard to believe that anybody that's around that woman for more than 5 minutes can trust her with anything enough to just turn your back on her. She has such a suspicious look about her and way about her that I don't understand how anybody can even just like keep her out of your periphery for half a second.
Well, I mean, but again, it goes to this idea of the person who's nice to your face, but that you don't recognize because you don't have. So Tim Meadows is a bureaucrat in this,
right,
and does not have that much interaction with anybody. It's like someone coming to his office. It's like, oh, okay. So, and I'll give you an example. I work in HR. I have a lot of duties to do to keep everything flowing in HR, but I have people come into my office on many occasions, and now I have to deal with this. And it is this thing where, okay, this is my only interaction with you. I have to work through this storyline. I've got to understand what's going on. And it does create a situation where someone could feel that if you were a less skilled bureaucrat, which of course I am not, I'm a very good bureaucrat within HR, because I'm HR. My job is to know who you are. But a person who's just an accountant is going to be like, no, I like that person. That's the nice lady that brought the bagels brought the little ice pops on Sunday. Always likes the red biscuits. I don't know. She takes them. We get the yellow ones. We're all happy. That's the thing. And so she puts herself in this spot when she sees the Outer Rim sheriff coming in, saying we need to raise a posse, saying, look, maybe what we need to do is let them understand how important the Republic is. And maybe when they come to us directly, not through their back channels, but come to us directly and align themselves with the New Republic, then we'll have to come in and save them. And that is the way she manipulates it.
I feel like all these bureaucrats really are all just publicists. That's all they are, right? And the people who really get things done, build relationships, and form alliances are people like this sheriff guy, right? So,
well, of course. I mean, that's the point. And it's not that the bureaucrat doesn't want to build relationships.
That's not his role. That's not his job. He's a publicist.
Exactly. His job is to allocate resources. And coming to Coruscant is a great way to get your resources allocated. So in this sense, he does everything right. He just doesn't know there's a mole in the office. He doesn't know that it's the other Jim there today, or whatever, I never watched The Office. I don't know. But the idea that there's someone in there that's going to be messing with your mind and messing with your play.
Right.
There's someone that's going to be there to gaslight you. That is the problem in this moment, because Tim Meadows is there every day getting gaslit by Ella Kane. She's just a good hard worker. She's got her halo on. She's out there outing the secret
dissidents.
Dissidents. Doing everything she can for the New Republic.
She's creating them and then catching them. That's so
exactly disgusting. Well, it's her job, man. That's the thing. That's her job.
Filthy job.
Yeah, it is a filthy job. That's the job they don't write about in the history books. Unless you're in a free country, and then we do write about it. Then we find all about what is it? Counter Intel Pro, and all that stuff. It's like, oh wow! So it's like the FBI would go there and they realize suddenly, wait, we're all FBI agents.
Yeah.
Which did happen. It's like that's your funny slice of life jokes from the Counter Intel Pro, but yeah, mostly it was targeted assassinations of American citizens. But that's a whole other thing to get us banned in Tennessee. Moving right along,
right? So he doesn't get the help he needs from Tim Meadows. Well, so there's other
Meadows, but you know who has been a hardcore supporter of the rebellion since day one? R5D4 Red Unit, like freaking through his own motivator unit, just so that freaking R2 could get to Luke. And that's the impressive thing. It's like, they're going to go with R5D4, and R2's like, dude, man, no. You know who Anakin Skywalker is? He's like, yeah, of course I know who Anakin Skywalker is. All this Central Max talk. He's like, yeah, well, that's his kid. But I got to get him this message from his sister so that he knows to blow up a freaking Death Star. It's like, oh, man, just open with that next time. Blows his own motivator. R2 goes over. It's like, well, I mean, really, R5 gives this. What you want to give? Do you want to give me the message to give to Luke? I'm more than happy to. And it's like, no, man, I got to do it. I got a contract, R5. But that's the thing. So R5 has been sitting on Tatooine. He's been dealing with this. He's been in the shadows of the rebellion for years, and apparently, he and this other X-wing guy got to be friends. Although, like all droids. He's like, no, I left him on Tatooine. I figured, what the heck? He's just a droid after all. But he tracks him down. He comes there, and he comes to the Mandalorians. And he's like, hey, Navarro? And they're like, yeah, we were run out of Navarro because one of our friends here decided to save Grogu. Like, yeah, they're in super bad trouble, and like, I can't help, but maybe you can. And so they say, well, I guess we're going to have to save them. And that's what they do. That is what they come to do.
Well, yeah, he also sells them on the fact that the magistrate has agreed to give them a plot of land or, a piece to call home.
Well, Jin sells them on that because that's what he knows.
Right.
So and again, it is all the pieces coming together. Because all that thing about, hey, you come be my marshal, and you can get this plot of land right by the springs, all this stuff. And he's like, hey, they're going to give me land if we go there. It's a whole freaking planet. We can get a good chunk of planet to raise our kids out in the open instead of having to deal with what we have to deal with. And then, of course, Jon Favreau's character comes up and says, hey, we should do this because this guy saved my kid. But he does the whole variation thing where it sounds like he's making a counter argument, but then he sells it. It's great when he does it. And everybody joins up, and so we all go. And I love that they do all go. And I love that even the armorer gets her chance to gets her hammer, starts swinging it around. Because you know what? That's the thing about the armorer. It's like everyone thinks she's some old biddy, but no, she's a freaking Mandalorian born and bred. And her, like, yeah, it's like I'm the only one allowed to use what do you call it? Beskar weapons. Because my Beskar weapons are my tools. I got my clamps and my hammer. And guess what? You're going down when I hit you with a Beskar hammer. So they do win, and even High Magistrate Grief Karva is humbled because he just calls himself Magistrate, and his droid says, "Hi, Magistrate." He's like, "Yes, High Magistrate Karva," and he basically gives them. I find
it too far fetched to think that little bit is planned. That
well, of course.
I say Magistrate, you correct me and say High Magistrate. That would be really funny if that's something they practiced.
I'm sure. Well, first of all, you don't have to practice with a droid. Just say, droid, if I ever do this, do that.
Fair enough.
And it makes me look so much more humble. And again, because it's freaking Apollo Creed, freaking Carl Weathers, freaking Grief Karva. And he's playing his angles. He's also directed a couple of these, and he's good at his job. But yeah, in this moment, he gives the Mandalorians a nice chunk of land, really basic, and not to be rude, but it does sound like your classic American Native American treaty was like, from this to that, it's all yours.
Yeah.
It's like, let's hope we don't find any gold over there, but still, in the moment, we're trusting it to be a positive. And that I appreciate.
Yeah, and you got to incentivize them to protect the planet too. They have to have a piece of it and truly share in it in order to feel like they belong to it so that they feel like they should defend it.
Exactly. And then we get the big moment at the end where after the war is done and everybody's been murdered, properly. Because for real, honestly, if you're a pirate, and I don't know why pirates think they can take over a planet. Even if it's a small settlement on a planet, it's like you do know, like the second you get that resistance, you really should start to pull back, and the freaking first mate's like, dude, we gotta go. We are not gonna pull this off. And he's like, no, we will die fighting. It's like, okay, Cap, good for you.
Have you seen my moss beard? I lose to no one.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, so they all die horribly. And then, because this is where they started, they go back below the streets to where their little forge was. And John Favreau's character brings Bo-Katan down and leaves him. And it's like, take off your helmet. It's like, that's not the way. It's like, but you respect me, right?
You respect
it's like,
station.
You respect my station, right? Yeah. And it is this spot, like, man, is this meant to be a trick? Are you trying to trip me up? Is this Simon Says? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But I do respect your station, and you tell me to do this. You know what? I respect the way. I'm going to take my helmet off. And this is important because it means that Bo-Katan does respect the way. If you remember earlier, the whole thing about Bo-Katan was that she did not respect what the stories were. She did not respect why the Dark Saber let you rule. She just knew that, oh, you grab the Dark Saber and you rule. She did not respect why her family was the House of Catan, which ruled. She just knew that she was the princess, and so it's her job to be the princess. And this is the Armorer's way of showing, understand there are levels to these things. Understand that you can take off your helmet. It's fine. We are building a bigger thing than that.
Right.
And I want you to know that you can walk in both worlds.
Right.
Because
who am I only knew of these mythosaurs as a legend, but I believe that you saw one. So there is something to be said for, a divine sign or something.
Yeah. And you will find this in any legalistic religion. There are always these counter narratives that are discussed that are, if you're in this situation, is it better to do this or that? Basically, all of legalistic religions are trolley problems where everyone's trying to say, what is the way we navigate these situations? And they do come back to ideas of, you know what? If you have to, and this is how you're going to survive, and this is good for everyone, do the thing that's good for everyone. That it is as much a sin to follow the law that causes pain and suffering, when by flouting the law, you can save lives. This is...
I heard an argument that the commandment that says thou shalt not kill is not exactly translated properly. That what it was meant to say was thou shalt not murder. Yeah. Killing for a bad reason, but killing for a justified reason, apparently, according to what its intention was, is allowed.
Not to I might shock you here, Mozz, but there's a lot of people that get killed in the Bible.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, right.
Obviously, because it's like thou shalt not kill. Now let's go over back to the Promised Land and kill every melon farmer we meet. So there's always wiggle room because it's about what is the trolley problem? What is the most good? Although I recently found out that the trolley problem, like Schrodinger's cat, was expressly created by someone trying to show the foolishness of that sort of philosophical exchange rates. It's like, no, it's not a good plan. You aren't right. You're not actually turning people into math. Please stop. But going back to this story, Bo-Katan walks out. She's got her head off, got her mask off. Armor says, dudes, it's cool. She's going to bring us all back. And everyone's like, hey, Armor says it's cool. Armor says it's cool.
I hope we get more scenes with Din Djarin with his helmet off now that it's sort of not as taboo.
Well, but he was raised in the way.
Yeah, I guess some of them will stick to it. It would be.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. It's like,
him,
you know, it's sort of this thing. It's like, is it really something that makes your life hard, or is it something that makes your life aware? And it's a story. Remember from Hebrews, well, not from Hebrew, but from going to temple with my wife, and this very complex tale where the rabbi is talking about how he bought this house for his family, and on the wall was a vision of the Virgin Mary, like on a light switch. So that it's a light switch with the image of the Virgin Mary on it. You flip it. And he made this point about how every time Hasidim or other groups of very Orthodox Jews light a match or turn on a light switch, they say the prayer that you're supposed to say before you start a fire. Because light is this gift, and we are thankful for this gift, and so you do this. And it is this thing, this ritual, that costs you nothing, but it reminds you of your place in the universe. So for those who follow the way, yes, we could take off our helmets and we could live this life, but you know what? It's nice to wear the helmet. It's nice to know that this is who I am. Whether you're a Sikh who wears a turban, or a Jewish person who wears a yarmulke, or whatever your thing you wear is an item of your faith. If you're an atheist who has a little Darwin fish on his car, that has meaning to you. And it is saying, I believe in this thing. And this is something I will show the world to let them know who I am. Catholics at Ash Wednesday, we put the little dirt on our foreheads. Why do we do that? I don't know. They said we're supposed to do that. But you know what? For one day, everyone knows, oh, that's a Catholic.
And it connects.
And you know what? Yeah, damn right I'm a Catholic. And that's the point. That's the point of it. And having those moments where you get to say, this is who I am. You got a problem with it? And most people say, no, not really. Not really. I don't have any problem with it. It's like, good, cool. I don't got any problem with whatever you're doing either. So, you know. That's
have a good day.
Exactly, because all people are brothers in beer.
Right.
Or siblings in beer. All right, Mozzie, any final thoughts on tonight's episode?
Oh, at the end, the sheriff goes and finds a ship that Moff Gideon was in, and turns out they find a little bit of Beskar. And I think it's a gigantic leap to make to say that just because they found Beskar, it had to be Mandalorians that took it. I mean, Beskar's all over. You see those little plates there; they're everywhere, all over the galaxy. No?
Oh yeah, I mean, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, it is absolutely. You know what? It's like saying, "Oh my gosh, these people weren't eating pork. Obviously, they were Jewish."
Right.
Actually, a lot of people don't eat pork. In fact, many people eat pork and just didn't today. You know.
Right.
So it is a big leap on them to say it was Mandalorians, and that's meant to give us excitements. But no,
get Gus Fring back. Ooh.
Ooh, we're gonna see what we get. All right. Yeah, that's a good bit there. You know, now here's the real question that'll hang in your thoughts for the next few episodes. Did the Mandalorians find Moff Gideon to kill him or to free him?
Oh yeah, maybe they were for hire. Maybe they were like, you know, one of those roving band of mercenary Mandalorians.
Yeah, or any other group of Mandalorian who was like, no, Moff Gideon. He dead. I'm sorry. He lost the Darksaber. I heard that. He lost the Darksaber. Yeah. I'm gonna kill that MFer because he killed my planet.
Yeah.
Lots of story to come. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But in the meantime, kids at home and family at home and adults at home who like our show, why don't you write to us sometime? Let us know how much you love us. Write us at CapesandLunatics. That's all spelled out, CapesandLunatics at gmail.com. Or call us at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Let us know your thoughts. We'll read them on the air. We'll play it on the air if you want us to. Likewise, go to our websites at linktree, linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics, where you can experience all of the things we have to offer, from merch to giving us money through Cash App or Patreon, where you get to vote on things. And if people do that, or if they don't do that even, and they still want to talk to us, I want to talk to you specifically, Mozz, because you are so handsome, for those who have YouTube. Ladies, feel free. How can they find you, Mozz?
They can reach me by email at mozzmanzor@gmail.com, or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email with your mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com, which is a long word because I started this back when it was just a blog. And, of course, you can always follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet things like Gotham Knights, which I did this last weekend. It's a crazy show, but you know what? I'm kind of into it. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality.
Thank you, Mozz. All right, yes, scurvy landlubbers, you have come to the end of another adventurous sailing trip down the bounding main. Come back again next week as we once again sail full stream ahead. Arrgh.